Rain poured over the silent suburban street. Lena's heels echoed as she approached the house, apartment 1302. She stepped inside. No lights, no one, just mirrors, reflecting herself, smiling back when she didn't. The piano played by itself. Water pooled at her feet. Doors slammed shut around her. Her phone buzzed. 1 hour. Cash double. Apartment 1302. Come alone. She ran. But the building twisted. Endless. Impossible. And then she realized she had never left. The rain hadn't stopped for hours. It slicked down the taxi's windows like sheets of melting glass, distorting the city lights into shimmering veins of orange and blue. Somewhere in that blur, Lena watched her own reflection fade in and out, a ghost caught between neon and night. She hated nights like this. Too quiet, too wet, too many thoughts. The text had come an hour ago, short, direct, and strange. 1 hour. Cash double. 47 North Green Street, Apton 1302. Come alone. No name, no photo. Just an address and a part of the city she didn't know existed. Lena had been doing this for 2 years, and she'd learned to read tone through messages. Most clients tried to sound charming, or desperate, or both. This one sounded mechanical. Still, double pay was double pay, and the rent didn't care about intuition. She glanced up at the GPS. The car was entering the West Loop. Warehouses turned into luxury apartments, all glass and silence. The rain thickened, drumming against the hood as the cab slowed. "You sure this is the place?" The driver's voice broke through her thoughts. Ahead, a 12-story building stood alone at the end of the street. Its lights were off. Every other building around it glowed. Warm windows, movement, signs of life. But this one was dark, dead. Lena squinted. A single light pulsed faintly in the top floor. Apartment 1302. "Yeah," she murmured. "This is it." The driver frowned. "You want me to wait?" She shook her head. "No. I'll call if I need a ride back." He hesitated, then drove off. The sound of the tires faded into the storm. Lena stood under the awning, clutching her small purse, listening to the city retreat. The silence that replaced it was heavy, unnatural, like sound had been taken from the air. The glass doors opened with a long, slow creak. Inside was an empty lobby, marble floors reflecting flickering emergency lights. The front desk was unmanned. A vase of long-dead flowers slumped in a corner. She called out softly, "Hello?" No answer, just the hum of old electricity. The elevator dinged open by itself. Lena hesitated. Her reflection split across the cracked mirror inside. Her makeup looked ghostly under the fluorescent glow. She stepped in, pressed 13, and watched the doors slide shut. As the elevator rose, a faint humming filled the small space. A woman's voice, low, tuneless, coming through the speaker above. She pressed her ear to it. "You've come back." Lena's heart thudded. "Hello, who is this?" No reply, just static. Then the elevator stopped. Floor 13. The hallway stretched in both directions. Gray carpet, flickering sconces, and wallpaper peeling like old skin. Every door was closed except one, 1302. It was slightly open. Lena stepped closer, the heel of her shoe clicking once, twice, then stopping as the carpet ended. She pushed the door open. The apartment was spotless. Too spotless. No furniture except a grand piano in the center of the living room, and a single glass of red wine beside it. A voice spoke from the dark corner. "You're early." Lena froze. "Who's there?" The voice moved closer, low, male, calm. "Don't be afraid. I've been waiting for you." She turned, but the room was empty. The air shimmered, like heat waves bending reality. Her reflection appeared in the glass wall, but it wasn't copying her movements. Her reflection smiled first. Then it whispered, "You never left this place, Lena." The piano key pressed itself down with a soft, hollow note, and every window in the apartment began to fog from the inside out. The note from the piano still trembled in the air. One soft, dying tone that didn't seem to end. It just faded into the walls, into her bones. Lena stepped backward, her heels barely scraping the floor. The fog on the windows was spreading fast now, blurring the city lights into nothing. She could see only her reflection in the glass, and the faint shifting outline of something standing behind her. She turned. No one, but the air moved. A draft from nowhere brushed the back of her neck. She could smell something faint beneath the perfume and rain. Salt. "Like the sea. What is this place?" she whispered. The lights flickered once. The piano let out another note, lower this time, almost like a heartbeat. She clutched her purse tighter, scanning the walls. No pictures, no furniture, just long stretches of blank white space. And then she saw it. A door at the end of the hallway, half open, a dim light pulsing from within. She stepped toward it, the sound of her breath too loud in her ears. The hallway felt longer than before, like it stretched as she walked. The floorboards creaked, but not beneath her. Ahead of her, as if something was walking away just out of sight. She reached the door and pushed it open. It wasn't a bedroom. It was a mirror room. Every wall, floor to ceiling, was covered in mirrors. Hundreds of panels, each slightly off angle. Her reflection multiplied infinitely in every direction. For a long moment, Lena just stood there, frozen between her own faces, all staring back with the same unease. Then one of them blinked late. Her stomach dropped. She stepped closer to that particular panel. It showed her face, but a second too slow, eyes hollow, lips twitching into a grin that didn't belong to her. She reached out and touched the glass. Cold, but beneath the surface, something moved. Her reflection's hand didn't meet hers. It twisted slightly, pressing against the other side as if trying to break through. Lena stumbled backward, heart hammering. The other reflections began to shift now too. Small, delayed movements. Some smiling, some whispering words she couldn't hear. The room filled with faint murmurs, overlapping echoes of her own voice. "You shouldn't have come back. You always come back. You never leave." She covered her ears. "Stop it!" The voices stopped. The silence that followed was worse. Then the lights began to dim, not all at once, but mirror by mirror, reflections fading into blackness one by one. The darkness crept closer in waves until only a single mirror remained lit, the one directly across from her. Her reflection stared back, pale, trembling, eyes wide with terror. Then it smiled, not cruelly, almost sadly. "He's still waiting," it whispered. The light snapped off, total black. Lena gasped, stumbling backward. Her hands brushed a wall that wasn't there a second ago. The floor tilted under her feet and she fell, hitting cold glass. When she looked up again, she wasn't in the mirror room anymore. She was standing in the apartment lobby, dry, silent. The front doors were locked. Her phone buzzed in her pocket. She snatched it out. One new message. "You're late. 47 North Green St. Apton, 1302. Her blood ran cold. That was the same message she'd already received, the one that brought her here. The timestamp. Tomorrow. She stared at the screen, frozen. Behind her, the elevator dinged softly, opening by itself. Inside, a faint figure waited. A woman, soaked, smiling, her. The sound came first, a low mechanical hum that grew into a steady vibration beneath her feet. The elevator waited at the end of the hall, doors yawning open like a throat. The interior light flickered weakly, barely enough to touch the far wall. Lena hesitated. She knew she shouldn't move closer, but every instinct pushed her forward, the same way you lean over a cliff edge just to see how far it goes down. The moment she stepped inside, the doors shut on their own. No button panel, no floor numbers, just her reflection in the mirrored walls, and it was smiling again. She tried to look anywhere else, but her reflection's eyes followed her. Not perfectly, delayed, as though the glass was remembering her movements a few seconds too late. The hum grew louder. Then with a jolt, the elevator began to move. Down, no floor indicators. Just that endless hum and the faint smell of brine. Lena pressed her hand to the wall. Stop, damn it! The elevator didn't stop. It just kept sinking, slower, heavier, until her ears popped from the pressure. Somewhere far below, a soft ding. The doors slid open. The hallway outside wasn't the one she'd left. It was older, the wallpaper torn and sagging, the lights buzzing weakly. Water dripped steadily from the ceiling, puddling across the floor. She stepped out carefully, heels splashing into something cold. The carpet squelched under her weight. Every door here was open. Inside each room, identical apartments, empty, lifeless. The air smelled of mildew and salt. As she walked, her own phone began to ring in her pocket. She pulled it out, hesitated, then answered. Hello? Static. Then a voice. Hers. Don't look back. Her breath hitched. She spun around anyway. Down the hall, the elevator doors were still open. Inside, her reflection stood, head tilted, face pale. It stepped out. Lena ran. The hallway stretched endlessly. Every door she passed leading into the same apartment. Same piano, same glass of wine, same window fogging from the inside. She ducked into one, slamming the door behind her. Her chest heaved. The apartment was silent, until the piano note rang again. Soft, slow, deliberate. Lena turned toward it. This time there was someone seated at the piano. A man in a black suit backed to her, fingers hovering above the keys. His skin looked damp, as though he'd just climbed out of the ocean. You kept me waiting, he said quietly. Her voice trembled. Who are you? The man didn't answer. He pressed another key, a deeper tone that seemed to vibrate through the walls. You came here before, he said finally. You promised you'd stay. Lena shook her head. I don't know what you're talking about. He turned his head slightly, not enough to reveal his face, just the corner of his mouth. Then why does the building still remember your name? The lights flickered, once, twice, then went out. For a heartbeat, the darkness was total. When they came back, the man was gone, but the chair was still wet. And across the piano keys, written in dripping salt water, were 5 words. Level 13 is waiting below. The elevator waited where she had left it, doors open like a wound. Inside, the mirrored wall shimmered faintly under the dying overhead light, catching her reflection from a dozen angles. She could see her own face multiplied, eyes red from crying, hair damp, mouth trembling. On the panel where floor numbers should have been, someone had scratched 3 faint lines into the metal. 13. She reached out and touched it. The elevator doors slid shut with a hiss, and the hum started again. Low, steady, mechanical. The descent felt slower this time. The lights flickered, then turned an eerie aquatic blue, washing over her skin. The air grew heavier, thicker, until she could hear her own heartbeat echoing in her ears. The elevator stopped. No ding this time. The doors slid open onto a hallway drowned in blue light. Water dripped from the ceiling in thin streams, pooling along the cracked tiles. The air smelled of rust and salt. At the far end of the corridor, a faint light pulsed rhythmically, like a heartbeat. Lena stepped out. The floor beneath her shoes gave a soft splash. Every sound she made came back distorted, half a second too late, as if the hallway itself were repeating her movements. Hello? Her voice echoed back, delayed. Then again softer, in a whisper that wasn't her own. "Hello?" Her throat tightened. She kept walking. Doors lined both sides of the corridor, each marked with a different nameplate. Daniel, Maria, Evelyn, Lena, her own name stopped her cold. The door beneath it was cracked open, light spilling from the gap at the bottom. She pushed it slowly. Inside was a small room. A single bed, a vanity mirror, the faint hum of fluorescent light. The air was warm, familiar, too familiar. Her purse sat on the bed. The same purse she was holding. She dropped it in shock, and both bags hit the floor in unison. One landed solid. The other passed straight through. The reflection in the vanity moved before she did, standing up slowly, staring at her with hollow eyes. "You made it back," the reflection whispered. Lena's breath hitched. "What are you?" "The part of you that stayed." The mirror fogged over. When it cleared, her reflection was gone, replaced by the man from the piano, sitting beside the bed. His suit was soaked through, eyes black as oil. "You were supposed to stay with me," he said softly. "You promised?" "I never—" "You did. You came here a year ago. You took the job. You never left." The room began to shudder, the walls rippling as if underwater. The mirror cracked down the center, leaking salt water that streamed across the floor. Lena staggered back toward the hallway, gasping. The man rose. Every step he took made the lights dim, and with each pulse of blue light, her own reflection flickered between her and him, like the two were merging. She ran. The hallway twisted, stretching and narrowing, doors slamming shut one by one behind her. The water rose higher with every step until it reached her knees. She could hear voices inside the walls now, soft, pleading, hundreds of them whispering in unison, "Remember us." We stayed. You left. At the end of the corridor, the elevator doors glowed faintly. She stumbled toward them, pounding the button. They opened, spilling out a wave of cold, dark water that drenched her completely. And standing inside was her reflection, perfectly calm, perfectly dry, wearing the same clothes, the same face, but with eyes that glowed faint blue. "You're not real," Lena whispered. "Neither are you." The reflection stepped forward and pressed its palm against hers. The air hissed like boiling steam. For a heartbeat, she could feel her pulse syncing with it. One rhythm, one body. "It's not possession," the reflection whispered. "It's memory." Then everything went dark. When Lena opened her eyes, she was standing in the lobby again. The rain outside had stopped. Her phone buzzed in her hand. One new message, 1 hour. "Cash double, 47 North Green Street, Aptern 1302. Come alone." This time, her hands weren't shaking. She smiled faintly, almost peacefully, and started toward the elevator. Behind the front desk, a maintenance worker glanced up, confused. He looked at her, then at the nameplate beside the mailboxes. Apartment 1402, Lena Voss. "Strange," he muttered. "Didn't she die last year?" The city was bright again. Morning light spilled through glass towers, washing the streets in soft gold. People walked, cars moved, life went on. And yet, as Lena stepped out of the lobby of 47 North Green, no one seemed to notice her. No one met her eyes. No one moved aside when she passed. The puddles on the sidewalk reflected her faintly, but the reflections were delayed, like bad film playback. Always a second behind. Her phone buzzed in her pocket. "Thank you for accepting. Please proceed to apartment 1302. She blinked. The same number. The same message. Again, she looked back at the building. It loomed against the bright sky, its windows dark and still, as though it was watching her. Something in her chest told her to run. Just keep walking and never look back. But her legs moved on their own, carrying her through the glass doors and into the quiet lobby. The receptionist's desk was gone. The marble floors were cracked and water-stained again. She was back. The elevator was waiting for her, doors open, soft light inside. She hesitated only a moment before stepping in. The panel was blank again, but this time there was a keyhole under the scratched and 13. Her hand slipped into her pocket. There, impossibly, was a small brass key, cold and wet. She slid it in, turned. The elevator began to sink. No sound, no hum. Just that quiet, liquid stillness. The sound you hear when you're underwater too long. When the doors opened, she expected the same blue-lit corridor. But this time, it was something different. It looked like a ballroom. Huge, dark, filled with rows of tables, crystal chandeliers flickering dimly above. The water lapped at her ankles as she stepped in. Every mirror on the walls reflected her 1,000 times over. The piano stood in the center, and sitting at it was herself. Not a reflection, not a ghost. Her. The other Lena turned toward her slowly. Her eyes were black, like deep water with no light at the bottom. "You kept the appointment," the other Lena said softly. "Good." Lena shook her head. "You're not real. You're just this place playing with me." "This place doesn't play," the mirror Lena said. "It remembers." The chandeliers flickered. The air grew colder. "Everyone who comes here leaves something behind," the reflection said. A face, a memory, a promise. You came here to forget who you were, and the building kept its end of the deal. Lena's voice trembled. "Then who am I now?" "You're what's left." The piano began to play itself. A slow, broken melody that echoed through the flooded hall. The reflection stood, water rippling around her ankles. "It's not death, Lena, it's continuity." We become the walls. The sound, the waiting. The next voice on the phone. Lena backed away, shaking her head. "No, I'm real. I can leave." "Try." She ran for the elevator. The hallway stretched again, impossibly long. Her footsteps splashed louder and louder until it sounded like waves crashing. She hit the call button over and over. The doors opened, not to the elevator, but to the street. Rain pouring, taxi waiting. For a moment she just stared. Then she stepped through. The air changed, warm, real. She turned back. The building stood there, quiet, clean, lifeless. No water, no piano, just glass. She laughed, breathless, relief shaking through her. Then her phone buzzed again. "Incoming call, private number." She answered it. "Hello?" Static. Then her own voice, distant, slow. "1 hour. Cash double. 47 North Green Street, apartment 1302. Come alone." The color drained from her face. The street around her began to ripple. Raindrops froze in the air. The taxi lights blinked out. She turned slowly toward the building. The doors were open, and through the glass she saw herself waiting, smiling faintly, holding the phone to her ear. "You're late," the other her said. The glass between them fogged over. Then faintly from deep inside the building came the sound of a piano note. Soft, low, and endless.